This is the final few lines of Amores 1.11, and if you remember from the previous poem, Ovid is convincing Nape, Corinna's handmaiden, her Ancilla, her servant, to send Corinna a letter, basically a love note. Now, remember, the Romans didn't use papyrus because papyrus was really expensive, so typically they'd use wax tablets. So that's the reference that we see here. And so he has convinced her at this point to send her the letter, and now he's telling her, look, when you give it to her, make sure she reads it, make sure she writes back, and all of this kind of thing. And so that's kind of where we are here. So in 19, he says, give it to her. He says, no delay, nec mora, or maybe something like without delay. He says, eubeto, order that she write back many things. And then we have perlectis, which means having been thoroughly read. And so we're going to assume tabelis here, with my tablet thoroughly read. And this is plural. Maybe he's giving her more than one tablet, with my tablets having been thoroughly read. There's a couple other things here I should mention. Eubeto, first of all, I translated this as order. It's a command, and it is a command. It is an imperative, but this time it's a future imperative, which makes sense, right? Ovid's telling Nape that later, when she gives Corinna the note, to tell her to read it thoroughly, or to write back. So that makes sense. We don't see this. This is a really rare form. We see esto sometimes, be, or the plural would be estote. Here, the plural of eubeto would be eubetote. The other form that we might, version of this that we might be more familiar with is, in English, the word memento comes from the Latin word memento, and memento means remember, the future imperative. Like the dictum memento mori, remember to die, the sort of point that philosophers make that, look, we're all going to die one day. So here, order, ut, is implied here, rescribat, with the subjunctive verb, and we're indirectly reporting a command. We're saying, hey, Nape, order her to do this. So that's an indirect command. Your commentary calls it a jussive noun clause, but they're the same thing. So order that she write back many things, or maybe order her to write back many things, with my tablets having been thoroughly read. And he goes on, he says, I hate it, Odie, when the bright shining wax is empty, but not just empty, is latte, is widely empty. So here's the adverb from latus aum. He says, let her, we assume that the subject is Corinna here, let her pack tight her verses, her lines in rows. So, may she, or let her, because this is the jussive subjunctive, it's the main verb of the sentence, but it's not compromit, it's compromat, the subjunctive, the present subjunctive. So not she packs tightly, but let her, or may she pack tightly her verses in rows. So gosh, I hope she writes a lot. And then here, let her, or may she delay her eyes, I guess. But then Ovid kind of pulls a fast one on us, because we find out in the next line that littera is actually the subject of morator. So let her letter delay, and I guess we assume my eyes now, oculos, but then meos down here at the very end of the line. So Ovid, I think, is being a little coy with us. So let her letter delay my eyes in the outermost margin of it. Now, the only word we have left over here is rasa. This word is problematic. The verb is radera, and it means to erase. But that doesn't make any sense. Let her letter, having been erased, delay my eyes. So there's two explanations here. One is that this actually is a problem with the text transmission, and this isn't actually rasa, it is arata, which we've seen before means to inscribe. So let her letter, having been written on, delay my eyes. And having been written on maybe in the outermost margin. So it's packed full of letters. And that's basically what we're saying here too. The other explanation is that Ovid did write rasa, and it does mean erased, but maybe it's the fact that she has erased Ovid's letter and on the same tablet has written her letter. Or maybe that she just has labored over her words, and she's written and erased and written and erased. I'm not really sure that any of those three are completely satisfactory, but nonetheless, we mean, again, let her write a ton and let her delay my eyes, and go just all the way, fill up all the margins of it. Going on to the next here, quid opus est. Now, literally, quid what? But this is another one of those colloquial why, and then opus est, is there need? Why is there need? Now we have digitos, fingers, but we need an infinitive after opus est. Why is there need to wear out? There it is. Why is there a need to wear out my fingers, her fingers, by holding a stylus? So I think what Ovid means here is why does she need to wear out her fingers by holding a stylus? And here again, habeat, not habet, but the present subjunctive, and it's the main verb here. So let, or may, and then hoc scriptum, this writing. But we find out here, this is nominative. These A's are nominative, so this has to be accusative, the neuter accusative. So let the whole tablet contain or hold or have this writing. Come, the imperative from venio. So on second thought, let's not have that whole tablet filled with words. Let's have the tablet filled with one word, veni, come. Simpler is better. And then I am not going to do something here. Whicher case, the accusative plural here, victorious. Lauro, the dative or ablative, laurel tree. And then an infinitive, redimire, which means to wreathe. And then tabelas here. So victorious tablets, because he wrote her a tablet saying, hey, let's get together, I love you. And of course now she's saying, at least Ovid's imagining, that she wants to, so they're victorious. We still need a main verb though. We don't have one. Redimire means to wreathe the victorious tablets with laurel. So I'm going to verb something, and we don't know what it is. Here's neck and not. And we're still going. Here's another infinitive. Redimire, ponere. Finally, we get our verb here at the end, which is a very playful thing of Ovid to do because, of course, more means to delay, and he has delayed the verb that means delay until the last word of the couplet, the entire couplet. So morere is again a present subjunctive. So let me not delay to wreathe my victorious tablets with laurel, and let me not delay putting, or maybe just to put, or maybe just putting those victorious tablets in the media ide, in the middle of the shrine of Venus. So as soon as I get it back and she says, okay, come on over, without delay, I'm gonna put laurel on those tablets. I'm gonna dedicate them to Venus, and subscribam, I will write under. Now this could be let me write under, but I think I agree with Lafleur's interpretation that there's no subjunctive about it. There's no shoulda, woulda, coulda about it. He's saying, and I will. If all this happens, I will write underneath to Venus, faithful, these attendants. So these attendants, faithful to Venus. Now, Naso is Ovid, right? Remember his name is Publius Ovidius Naso. So Naso verbs these attendants, faithful to Venus, to himself, not sure here, and dedicates. So we find out here, because we have to do a little gymnastics with these datives, Naso dedicates to Venus these attendants, faithful to him. So Sibi, remember, is reflexive. It has to refer back to the subject. So Naso dedicates these attendants, i.e. the tablets, faithful to him. He dedicates them to Venus. but, or maybe yet, recently, fuistis, you plural, you tablets were cheap, and then this acer is maple wood. So there's a little bit of a kind of an unfortunate note to leave us here. Remember at the very beginning, he gave that sort of backhanded compliment to Nape, and he says, you're sort of to be considered, not just any slave girl. And here it's kind of the same thing, kind of reminding Nape and the tablets what they are, which is a means to an end. But nonetheless, in 1.12, we're going to find out what Corinna actually says in return.